going to share about 7 more characteristics of gifted kids today. I'm really excited to do that. These kids, they're so special but complicated. And so the next characteristic, number 9, is longer attention span. And you might be like, what, Sarah? But they're jumping from thing to thing. It's not the longer attention span. But here's the thing, in that area of passion, okay, don't forget the Legos, the video games, whatever it is, right? That excitement about that animal that they're learning about, whatever it is, that area of passion, they can focus for hours. They can focus, they can concentrate, they don't give up. In fact, they persevere through that because they're so interested and excited. And I've seen it with my son in terms of Legos. So he's opening up that huge Lego pack, that giant box for 18 plus, and bag after bag, putting it together. I need to be like, okay, Finn, you need to take a break. It's time, run outside. And then he's back at it again, right? Putting it together. And complicated things and just moving through those struggles, the challenge. And it's like, wow, you've got it. Like, you've got some great skills here. You might see it with books. They reread the same books over and over. So we've bought a lot of our books. So because Finn will do that, he wants to read the same ones. He's read, I believe, the Murderous Math series 10 times. I believe so. And the Horrible Histories, like at least 4 times. There's a lot more books. There's 20 plus books. So but that's the way it is with these kids. When they love something, they know what to expect. They know they can do it. They know that they love it. They want it. They can really focus and concentrate intensely. And it's so exciting to see. But the thing is, you didn't come up to them, say something like, it's time for dinner. And they don't hear you. They're so into what they're doing. Okay. And it's not them being rude. It's really they're that into what they're doing. Okay, number 10 is complex thinking. They like to make things more complicated and more complex. They want to push their thinking, and that's what excites them. They get bored with the mundane and the regular stuff. And they can take it to a level with games. So they might play a game and then all of a sudden change the rules to make them more complicated. And that, as a parent, is really frustrating. I can speak from experience. Or they make up their own game with their own rules. And these rules might be the same one day and different another day. And it's really challenging as a parent, and it's challenging for their friends. And so I would have to tell my son, Finn, I'll play this with you, right? I'll do this, but your friends, they're not going to like that. When you play with friends, that's the time to play with the expected rules. So you guys all agree, you know what to expect. But I'm so excited that you're being creative, thinking outside the box and coming up with these other things to try out. It's really fun, it's clever, and that's great. But with the mundane tasks, whether it's chores, like they need some novelty, or they might just forget to do parts. It's just they're not fully engaged with their brain. They know they don't need to engage fully. And so it's tricky. And it can be so hard for kids that already know the information in class. Okay? So it feels like punishment to sit there through it again. And so if they can do little doodles or draw or daydream, you don't really want to encourage that. And at the same time, they do need some tools to be able to handle that, because that is going to be a challenge for them. Number 11 is concern for political or social issues. And this is huge, and it can be so heartbreaking for them. That global warming, endangered species, racism, all these different things can bring tears to their eyes, and they're going to feel it. Or they can get so angry and want to make a difference and write a letter or take a stand, and they don't get how people can behave in a way that can just promote these injustices and make them worse. And so it's really a tricky situation. It can really just crush them. And so being sensitive and understanding that this is something that they're taking to heart, they're really believing in, and that this is a characteristic. Like this is common with kids like them. And then number 12 is sensitivity. This is big, okay? And there is a correlation with the higher IQ, okay? The brighter that they are, the more sensitive that they usually are. Okay, there is a proven correlation between that. And what that means is that, they're thinking and feeling and their five senses are on fire. Like they are heightened in a way that we as parents can have a hard time understanding. And so I'm just trying to grasp that when they feel deep, like they're going to feel deeply. And when they're moved to tears, it's not just tears. It's like, wow. It's going to set them back for a moment, pause, and they need to really just take that in. And so they might be set off more easily because a little thing, a criticism, and it might not even be a real criticism, but they're taking it as feedback and it feels to them like personal and they take it really hard. But you're trying to just help them. They're just going to notice small things, nuances, lots of different types of things that other people miss. And so it just makes everything just a little bit more overwhelming at times because there's so much to notice and understand and figure out. And so at times it's just going to feel like too much. They get their feelings hurt more easily. And so friends, it can be really difficult with friends if things don't go their way, just a lot of different things that can come into play with this being sensitive. And it can be really challenging. And so just having that understanding. And then with the sensitivity, they might go to argue because that arguing, it's just, they need to do something about it and they want to get their power back somehow. So it might come out as an argument. So lots of these different things that can kind of go together. The compassion is amazing. The compassion they have for animals or other people. And then their empathy of being able to feel other people's feelings. So as a parent, you need to be careful because they will notice your feelings and they can take them on themselves. Or if you're upset, they assume it's at them. So they can really personalize things. So just to be aware that of some of these different things. But it doesn't mean walk on eggshells around them, but just have this understanding of how they might just really feel and that certain situations might be more provoking than others. And I think that understanding can go a long way, especially if you help them bring that awareness to themselves about this. Intensity is the next one. And intensity is huge. This is the biggest one. I feel like kind of everything's affected because of intensity, and it plays into the sensitivity because everything's bigger for them. They're experiencing the world on a whole other level. It's different. Their beliefs are going to be bigger and more opinionated. They're going to just feel really strongly about a lot of things that they do. And whether it's their interests, their passions, their tantrums and meltdowns are going to be bigger. Okay. And then the power struggles. As a parent, that's so tough. Okay. It's hard. This one makes parenting very, very difficult for these kinds of kids at times, okay? You love the joy, the curiosity, all these different things, but when the intensity comes out in a power struggle, that gets hard. There's also intensity, like they experience everything more intense, even sleep. So when they're sleeping, it's deeper. It might be for shorter periods of time, but it's deep. When they're asleep, if you try to wake them up, it can be really hard if they're in the middle of that deep sleep. So lots of different things going on that can be wonderful. That intensity behind their passions is great. But if they're not passionate about something, then forget it. Okay? So it can go in a lot of different directions. Daydreaming. Okay, number 14. So your child might be playing soccer out on the field, running around. All of a sudden, maybe their defense. The play is on the other end of the field. They notice the bird. Oh yeah, I wonder, where's that bird? What kind of bird is that? Wonder what it's doing. What might it be like to fly? Right? So the daydreaming, the imagination takes off. All of a sudden they've forgotten what they're doing, where they are, and the ball all of a sudden comes past them, and it feels like other people can get frustrated. Okay? It's happened to me cooking. So cooking, and then all of a sudden it's kind of slow. It's just, I'm waiting for the vegetables to just fry. And then suddenly I'm thinking about, oh, I have all this other things to do, and off the task, right? And so that can be a challenge. And it can be like a strength of, oh, well, if we just daydream when we're in the car, then the ride can go back by faster, those kinds of things. And they can get lost in their own thoughts, which can be a wonderful thing. But it's just something to notice. Number 15, desire for reason and understanding. And this is huge. Okay, so they want to know, why do I have to do that? Like, what is the purpose? I don't get it. And I don't really want to do that if I don't get it. I don't get why I have to. So that math, like, I just don't see where I'm going to use that math in my life. Okay. So it's not them being difficult on purpose. It can feel like it, really feel like it sometimes. But it's that just wanting to understand the world and make sense of everything around them. And so it can come across in a way that's off-putting, rude at times. Yeah, they just see the world differently, and they want to understand all the complexities, the layers, everything underneath, what's driving everything, how to just understand the world. And so it comes down to that. But occasionally as a parent, you just need to this is how we do things as a family. And you can sit down and have that conversation about how the family works, how we're all parts of the community, and how we all need to participate, and give and do our share. But when we can, if we can give the bigger, like the purpose about a small activity or a task, then it's really helpful. It can be even like the bigger purpose behind homework. It's not just about getting this assignment done. It can be about setting a routine for a life and really being prepared and knowing how to be able to get tasks done, do things we don't want to do. I mean, there can be lots of things, but within each homework assignment, it can get really tiring to try to explain why you have to do study that particular spelling word or things like that. And that can be exhausting. But if you can give the bigger picture at times and just come back to, these are skills, you're building these skills, practicing these. So these aren't even things that you need to think about or learn when you get older, because you will need to be doing more complicated things at that time. And so, but you need practice doing all these kinds of stuff to be set up for success. So those kinds of things, when they're ready, when they're listening, be able to have these deeper conversations, and they can go a long way.